Y'all, I finally did it. Like right before I hit the record button for this podcast episode, I texted my manager at the restaurant. I was like, "Hey, I wanted to tell you this before you made the next schedule that I quit. I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm gonna turn in a formal notice when I turn in my uniform if I remember. Hopefully, I remember. But like, I also like just don't have the energy, low key, to like type up a formal notice. But that is the correct thing to do, so I'm going to do it." But it feels like a minor weight is off my shoulders as far as like that job goes. And what's crazy, she was like, "Oh, well, I had you on the schedule. Go ahead and take me off, queen. Go ahead and take me off." But anyway, you guys will be proud of me. I took a step in the right direction. I just have a couple more things that I need to do as far as like, things that have just been on my list that I know are hard, but I know will protect my peace. And let's just hope that I get those things done. Anyway, that's not what this episode's about, but I'm just like super happy that I finally did it. Welcome to the Simply Jamilah podcast. Hello, my name is Jamilah. I hope you are doing great. I am here to talk and let it out, I guess, in a way. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not going to say sorry, but I was about to say I'm sorry. And like, for what? Because I just simply am not good at speaking. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're either listening or watching, depending on what platform you have this podcast on. And I think we're going to be in for an interesting ride today. So I don't know. Let's get into it. And by let's get into it, I mean, like, let's, skip over the weekly wins. Cause I mean, unless you guys have really good news, I have nothing. I'm trying really hard to think of something and I don't have anything. I mean, besides like my brother graduated from high school, which is kind of the basis of this episode. So I'm not going to like give away my good news super soon, even though that is good news. He made it. But I don't know. I just feel like I haven't seen anything great in the news. And I don't know if it's because there's like our local news currently is not looking pretty at all. And normally my local news isn't like the worst thing ever, but recently it's just been really, really bad to the point where it's like I can't. I literally can't do this, guys. Like we got to wrap it up. So I don't know. If you have good news, I would love to hear it, but I don't have any myself. We're going to skip on over to that and get into what this episode's all about. This might not be a long one because I don't really have much to say. So as I said at the end of last week's episode, or the last episode, I went back to Tennessee for the weekend for my brother's graduation. Like I said, that is really good news. He graduated. I'm a proud big sister and he's going to go places. We talked about his plans and all the things. That part of it was great. The overall trip, 3 out of 10. maybe 4 out of 10 just because I got through TSA so fast coming back. But then I also want to take a point away because my flight was delayed. So I don't know. I dissected the whole trip in therapy and with my friend before I left Tennessee. And low key, I'm about to go hit up my journal real quick because even after I left the state, the people that are supposed to be my family were saying some stuff. And I found out about it. Like, hello? Y'all are the reason I don't want to come back. Like, at least to visit as much. So, yeah, it was even like literally, I'm back in town, back where my home and my dog and all the things are. And you're still saying stuff. What? I can't. It amazes me how much people do not change. Do not change. That was not English. Do not change, period. Do not change. Like, and these are like people 3 times my age. What the heck? What the heck? So, yes, I dissected the trip in therapy and I talked to my friend about it. But then the afterwards and you're still running your mouth, I got to go journal about that. So I'm going to journal about it after I'm done recording here as I wait for my soup to finish cooking because we're about to hit some rainy weather here in North Carolina and I'm low-key excited. A lot of people are not because it's kind of that season of senior events, but like give me the rain, give me the cozy vibes. Like I said, I just quit my job. You know what that means? We're sleeping in on Saturday and it's supposed to rain. Give me the soup. Give me the sleep in-ness. Give me all of the coziness. And I'm about to start reading a thriller for my book club. I'm excited. I'm hype. Okay. I got to just get over this like journal and get my emotions out. and we'll be great. But this episode is not about the trip. It is about what was said on the trip, which also sounds like I'm about to talk about the trip. Anyway, many people at my brother's graduation party, and like people as in, yeah, we're related, and I just haven't seen them in a really long time. And they're like those extended family members that, wow, I wish I could see you all the time, or like try to adopt me kind of energy. Really great. Love them. But those people, they said that they wish that they could up and move to a different state the way that I did. Well, today that's what we're talking about. Do it. So they kept saying, and I mean, like, it was always like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. And then it would turn from, I would love to do it when they hear me talking about what I'm doing. I never meant for my life to sound glamorous because how do I explain this? In retrospect, it's really not. I have a job in education. So like strike one, have that job in education in North Carolina where the rating dropped for pay, strike two, about to like not have that job and hopefully I'll, make it somewhere else. So strike three. I was like homeless for half of last year. So like strike four, my dog is insane and we had an emergency vet visit right before this trip. So strike five, my bank account is a joke. It's a joke. Once I pay this car note, strike six. Like it's not, I didn't make it sound as glamorous, or it's not as glamorous as it sounds. It's literally a regular person's life in my opinion. I mean, some things are just insane. Like again, job. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say the word job. And low-key, I'm not going to say I'm not even doing that, but it just like there's no point. There's so much wrong with it right now that it's absolutely insane to show up, and it's hard to show up. And yeah, there's like roughly 2 weeks left and I just have to power through. So as I'm talking, again, it's that I wish I could do that, and oh my goodness, I would love to do that. And I think that kind of comes down to like locationally. I do, and I have such a love-hate relationship with North Carolina. I love that, like with North Carolina, I can go one way and I hit the beach. I can go the other way and I hit the mountains, and it's amazing. Like having that opportunity is amazing. I mean, hit up the mountains in the summer when it's like cooler, but like it's not, snowing, like you get that cool summer weather, and then hit up the beach in the winter when it's like they're experiencing warmth while the mountains are experiencing snow. Like just having that is amazing. And I do love that I love that about where I currently live, but I also know that there's other states that provide that same service, and I could live there as well and still, get that element of North Carolina that I love. And when I kind of explain that part to people, that's when people are like, oh my goodness, I would love to have that. And I'm like, it's the beach. It's not, I don't go to the beach that often. I haven't gone this year yet. I do intend to go a couple times, especially because I have yet to take Clover to the beach, and I think it's going to be one of the best things that I ever do. Best or worst, I don't know. I feel like she's going to be freaked out by the sand. It might be the quickest trip that I ever take, but we shall see. I'm personally excited. I don't know, like I said, we'll see. And I kind of maybe want to go camping. I'm undecided on that. And I mean like actual camping. I had a friend and we went car camping a couple times, but I mean like set something up camping. Like I kind of want to do that low key, but we'll see, because I know that it's kind of an expensive feat and it might not happen this year, but that's something that as I like live here, I'm like, wait, I like kind of want to do that, because people camp on the beach here and I think it's beautiful. So going back to people saying that they wish that they could just up and move to a different state, there's steps that need to be taken. Okay, granted, I did all this in the course of 2 months right after a car accident and also getting my wisdom teeth out. Like there was a lot happening in the moment that I had these 2 months to prepare to move here. And I moved here and I didn't even like the job within the first 2 weeks of working the job. I did it, and I think that you can do it too. So if you want to know the steps that I took or wish that I had taken as far as just being able to move to a different state, like here it is. Here it is. These are the steps. I have 5 of them, and they're not in a particular order because I tried and I just was like, no. So just take them at face value and do them in whatever order you need to do them. So the first thing, the biggest thing, is to secure a job or some source of income. Now, if you are fortunate enough to like work for yourself, whether it's being a content creator or having your own business, like being an entrepreneur or whatever the case may be, then your source of income is squared away. So you're good. You know, if it's where you want it to be financially. But if not, you need to secure that job. And honestly, I would not have moved to North Carolina if I had not secured that job at the design studio. Probably the only really great thing to come out of that. That and this cabinet that I have that's on my left. Love that cabinet. It's very fantastic. Great source of storage. Really, really grateful for that. I met great women minus the person who hired me, to be honest. But that's separate discussion. Separate discussion for a whole different episode that probably is already existing, but it is what it is. Those few things are why I was like able to just kind of stick it out, and they kept me here in North Carolina and at the job. I hit a point where I was working at Lowe's Hardware, and I was like, I can't do this forever. I cannot be on the service team building these displays, like watching my finger get chopping off accidentally other people's fingers. Like, I can't keep watching these bloody injuries for like a paint display and like a door display. I also can't keep moving these heavy doors to have the barcode showing. Like, I couldn't keep going with it. I had to find a way out. And so I started like doing this thing called serial applying for jobs. And I did that, and I just kept going. And low key, I did not realize that I applied to the design studio until they reached out. And that kind of actually happened to me with the restaurant as well. I had no idea that I applied to the restaurant until he like reached out about an interview. I did not know what I was interviewing for. I had no idea. But the design studio, I mean, I got the job, and that was the first step in kind of, okay, I got a job in a different state. Cool. Now what's next? Well, the next thing I could think of is that I needed a place to stay. It could be that you move to this new state and you have a relative there, and that relative is like, yeah, I'm like totally cool with you staying with me until you get up on your feet. Awesome. That would be fantastic. That didn't happen to me. But if that happens to you, stay with that relative. Okay? Do not immediately lose all your money paying for rent. But I was able to secure a place. I liked my tiny little, I think it was a one bedroom. Yeah, she was definitely one bedroom. It was a small little one bedroom. Granted, the price of it was more than what I pay now for this 2-bedroom. It also was smaller than this 2-bedroom. So very happy that, you know, as far as housing goes, things kind of worked out. But the next thing I had to do was like, I don't know anyone in North Carolina, and I need to secure a spot to stay. This might sound absolutely insane. This isn't meant to sound self-centered or anything like that, but I do agree with people thinking back about how brave it was to move somewhere where I knew absolutely no one, because I don't know, I didn't think about that until I got there. And when I got there, yeah, the like sorrow and all the things kicked in, but it was not the first thing that I thought of. It was just kind of like, I got a job, I have a place to stay, I'm about to go like live and make a new adventure for myself. And I really started, I believe that I started falling in love with just like the idea of not living in Tennessee. Me and my friend used to go on these like 48-hour road trips to places, and when we were doing that, it had just opened my eyes to like potential places to like live, and just how big the United States is, and just all of the opportunities, really. And so then I was like, okay, yeah, there's more to life than Tennessee. So some of the trips were good, some of the trips were not good, but I'm glad that all of the trips happened, because I needed to have all of those experiences to, I don't know, figure out that I wanted to escape Tennessee. Now, I will say, when it comes to securing a place to live, this might sound absolutely insane, but like, check the laws or like rules or whatever where you currently stay. Like, if you were with your parents, then, you know, the rule is get out by, I don't know, the end of the month or something. I don't know. They might have that rule. But something I've learned, like with North Carolina, I fully intend on, I've mentioned this several times before, like I would love to move states again. But with North Carolina, I would have to make sure, I'd either have to not renew my lease at all or find someone to take over my lease. Because if not, then I'm going to be paying rent on this apartment until someone else takes it. And that could be quite a few months. So that's a law here in North Carolina, but in Tennessee, it's completely different. In Tennessee, all I had to do was pay 2 months worth of rent, and then I was good. So when it comes to leaving where you currently are, just kind of check and make sure that, you know, you're not breaking anything law-wise or contractually or whatever. Like, I would check on that. And if you want to break something as far as like a contract goes. Like, what does that look like? What steps need to be taken? Because that has to be taken into consideration as far as like your move time and all of that jazz. And then if you are like me and you are moving somewhere that you just had never been before and you don't know anyone, I recommend living kind of close to your new job. So I did live right around the corner from the design studio, and it was nice. I didn't fully hate it or anything. It just made it easier as far as like learning the area. The first thing I had to learn was like, okay, I got this job here. I need to figure out how I'm going to get there. And it just made it easier to figure out everything else that was around. So I don't know. I recommend just like finding a place close to your job. And even now, I mean, I know where the school is that I work now, but I still live kind of close to it. But I'm happy that I do because I'm exploring what's around me. Like there's some great restaurants and things around me that I had never paid attention to. And I live not but a stone's throw away, I think is what the kids say, as far as like being close to the school that I work at. So if you're somewhere that you're just not familiar with, I don't know why, I just feel like living close to where you work is not a bad idea. Okay, the next, like, it's not next step. Low key, I feel like this should happen when you get the job. I don't know. I didn't know where to put it, but my number 3 is research, research, research. And I mean like research all of the things. I have yet to figure out, obviously, where me and Clover are going next. I have a whole nother year left on my lease starting in July. Like, we're not even done with the first year's lease. So I have plenty of time, but I'm going to spend a lot of my time, especially, you know, as we figure out what's going on with me graduating with my master's, since I'm not doing summer classes. Like, I have just a lot of research that I want to do and that I need to do. Now, the first step, since I have the time, is to physically go places as far as like contenders in my head of like, I could possibly go here with my dog, and then seeing the physical environment, like that is a form of research. I feel like there's a term for it, but I don't remember what it is right now. Please don't ask me. I don't know. But that is my first step. Now that I have an idea, now that I've like made this initial move, it's like, okay, let me do it better next time. So I have some places to visit over the summer, and I've already visited some places that it's like, this is a potential contender for where we move next. It's more than just like going to the physical place and like figuring out your surroundings. Like you can sit at home and do research. And I mean like full send. The types of grocery stores, the car registration process, because I so wish I had done that. I did not know it was going to cost over $500 to get my title transferred for my car. And then now that I'm here, Tennessee, fun fact, they don't require a car inspection to get your tags. You just get your tags, you keep it pushing, and it's not that expensive. Whereas here here I pay close to $200 every year for my tags, and that's not counting the $13 to $15 that I pay to get my car inspected, because I have to get my car inspected before I get my tags, and that's every year. However, I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone that I think is from Ohio. I think. Now don't quote me, don't get mad at me. I just know it wasn't any of the states that I've lived in, which is just 2. But I believe it's Ohio, where your tags, you renew them every 5 years instead of every year. So those are like those random small things that like research. And the grocery stores, I wish I had researched them and then just been more prepared. Like I'm Kroger born and bred. Kroger is my jam. Like that's what I know. And then I get here and there's no Kroger. It's Harris Teeter, right? It's Harris Teeter. And where I grocery shop now, it's Lidl. Now there is a universal language of Aldi apparently, at least amongst 5 states that I've been in. I've found an Aldi, but there's also like a ton of Food Lion here. Like there's a ton of Food Lions. So those kinds of things are important to research too, because not all, so how to explain this? Some grocery stores like are good for one thing and bad for another. Like some people prefer going to is it Harris Teeter? No, some people prefer going to, I think it's either Harris Teeter or Lidl or both. Like they prefer going there for like their produce, but then like they'll go to Walmart for like their pantry items, which I understand, because low key Walmart's getting added to the grocery spot like store list thing for me, just because I found some pantry items there are cheaper with like bigger servings and amounts and things. Other things to research if it really, really matters to you. I mean, obviously like the demographics, and not just like how many Black people and white people are there. Like, no, No, we're not looking at that. I mean, if you care, sure, but if you care, you're racist. So, uh, demographics, as in older people, younger people, married people, retired people, families, and then like kind of the age range for the families, those kinds of demographics, the poverty rate, the median household income. Those are some things that you really, I recommend like looking into, because it just kind of determines the community that you're about to walk into. I wish I had known that, because I lived in Raleigh, or I lived in Cary, but like right there at Raleigh when I moved to North Carolina. I don't live there anymore, so I feel comfortable saying it. And it wasn't until I like got there and tried going to events that I realized and like looked at my demographics that most of the people there, they're like young, like, you know, they might be my age, they might be a few years older, so young in that regard, but they're like married with children. It's a very, where I lived especially, was very family centric, and there was a lot of like events for families. Now, granted, I was close to like NC State, and I mean, Duke wasn't too far. UNC Chapel Hill wasn't too far technically, but I wasn't really in a college town, the way that I was like, I hate to sound stupid, but the way that I was when I was in college, you know? So the demographics were just completely different. Research is just one of the biggest, best things that you can do, especially if you know, have like the time to kind of figure out, okay, like I want to go here. Or say you do, you know, you get that job and then you're like trying to figure out where you're going to live. The demographics are also important for where you're going to live, because again, you have that poverty rate you got to look at. You got that median household income you got to look at, because that kind of affects, you know, how many people you see kind of walking around on the street, how many jackets get thrown in your yard, how many bras you catch on the bus, things like that. Somehow it does affect things like that. But that's another thing too, is like transportation is a part of the demographics. How are people getting around where you are moving? So that's something, these are just, there's so many things that really need to be like paid attention to, or like looked at, or whatever the case may be when it comes to where you move. The state income tax. I mean, there's quite a few. Actually, that sounds like a lot when I say quite a few, but there are a few states in the United States that do not have a state income tax, but a lot of them do. So it's like, what's that percentage looking like? What's our sales tax looking like? Are there multiple sales tax? You know, is there a different tax for groceries? Like, what does all of that look like? Research is so incredibly important. Even if you are like me and you're like, oh crap, I got a job in North Carolina and I move in 2 months. Well, when I got here, I still did my research. However, if you can do it beforehand, I highly recommend. I highly, highly, highly recommend. The next thing that I recommend, as far as like you're going to just hop, skip states, is whatever you're not attached to, sell it. I sold all my furniture when I left Tennessee. I think let me think. Yeah, no, I sold, and I felt bad. There was a whole thing off the dining table that I had. Don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started on that. And like the recliner, I had a recliner, and that one didn't sell, but it's at my aunt's house. But like everything else sold: my TV stand, my couch, my coffee table, my bed frame. I don't know if it sold or if I gave it to like a little family that I used to be friends with. But my desk, like every big piece of furniture sold. The only thing that I really actually was attached to was the dining table. And like my grandma, it was a whole thing about it was real wood and blah, blah, blah. Like she really loved it. But then eventually it became a matter of like, okay, if you love it, take the table. Well, she couldn't take the table. And I was like, neither can my Kia Soul. So we're at an impasse here. I'm going to need you to figure it out. And again, I had 2 months to do it, but I wasn't attached to any of it. And even moving, you know, as far away, not far, but like moving out of Cary, moving farther away from the city where I am now, I sold my couch again. I sold my coffee table again. I sold my TV stand. Yeah. Cause I don't have that TV stand at all. Yeah. No. Or did I? No, I didn't sell my TV stand when I moved to this new city that I live in now. But when I lost my home, I sold my TV stand. That's what it was. Long story short, anytime it's time for me to move, if I'm not attached to the furniture for any reason whatsoever, it's getting sold. And it's not just furniture. I mean, it's like pieces of decor. I've really reached a point now with decor where it's like, if it was not given to me or it doesn't hold any sort of memory, why do I have this random thing? Like I have a peace sign, a ceramic peace sign, And I'm very excited for when I move because I'm going to get rid of it. However, and I know I could get rid of it now, but it is currently taking up a necessary amount of space just so like visually it doesn't like drive me crazy to have an empty space where this peace sign is. But there's just a lot of like, I've gotten rid of a lot of it, but there's just quite a few pieces of decor that I've bought over the years that I'm like, there is no reason for me to have this unless it was given to me or it has a memory attached to it. Like it's right up here. I have a Doritos bottle that I cleaned out, and then in it I have Legos flowers that I built. So I built the Legos flowers. It's the only Legos thing that I've ever built in my life, and I love them. And then the Doritos bottle is from when I visited Tennessee. I think maybe it was last year, if not the year before, and I hung out with my friend and her. I hung out with my friend plenty of times, but it was like the first time that I had been like, I think it was at her I think it was my first time at her boyfriend's house. If it wasn't my first time like at her boyfriend's house, it was like my first time since they became one. That sounds so insane. Either way, the Doritos bottle has a memory associated with just a really fun night at my friend and her boyfriend's house. And I think we played games and drank. I don't remember what we did, but I just know I had fun. And that's kind of all I need to know when it comes to a memory, is just having that sort of fun. So like having that as a decor, yeah. So I save bottles and things. I'm looking around. I'm trying to think of like other pieces of decor that I have. I mean, I have like my elementary school perfect attendance trophies. Like those are decor in my house right now. One of them is actually in my kitchen, and it has like a fake plant inside with leaves coming out. So it adds more greenery to the space, but it's also like my principal's list award from elementary schools. And like the desk that I'm currently sitting at, someone that is my friend gave me this desk and she signed it. Who am I going to give this to? Who am I going to sell this to? I'm not selling someone my desk with my friend's signature on it. Now, granted, at the next place, I do have the next place is bigger. And instead of using it as a desk, I think I'm going to use it as an entryway table, just because I'm running out of space very rapidly on this desk for like the bare minimum items. So that I'm going to hold on to this desk. My couch, I already plan on getting rid of my couch. Have no reason to keep it. Coffee table, I'm not emotionally attached to it, but it serves a really, really great function for holding my books. So I'm going to keep it. So like those kinds of like ideologies and like thought processes go through my brain when it's like, okay, I'm moving. What's worth, bringing with me when I move? Because when I moved to North Carolina, I only had my car. And when I moved to where I live now, I unfortunately did hire movers. That was an expense that I wish I could get back, because I honestly could have just asked for help and probably rented a truck myself and called it a day. Because you know what I learned since being homeless and having to like put everything in a storage unit for a few months and then getting it out of storage unit, is that I can drive a U-Haul truck and not do bad. Like when I tell you I backed that U-Haul truck into the parking lot of my current apartment complex, and the like parking spaces are at an angle, they're diagonal, and I ate that up. I was so proud of myself. I was so proud of myself. I learned in that moment, I don't need movers. Just give me the U-Haul truck. But still, if I am not attached to something and I can sell it, I will. I'm getting rid of my couch for the simple fact that I did not anticipate getting clover when I bought my couch. I just simply want a couch that was long enough for me to take a nap on. And in theory, it is long enough for me to take a nap on, but it is not deep enough for both of us to sit comfortably. And if I'm taking a nap on the couch, apparently so is she. So I need something with just a bit more space. And I'm hoping that the next place is just bigger, so I can get like kind of an L-shaped couch. So if she gets on my nerves, I can just like either I'm pushing her away or I'm going away myself, and there's just like space. Because right now there's just really no space on my couch. I'm just over explaining something that you genuinely don't care about. So we're going to move on to the last thing that I have, which is work to build a community. And I wrote, even if it's a temporary home, because again, I already do not see myself living in North Carolina and like raising a family here. I don't. I wanted to so bad, but I have to prioritize myself, honestly, and I prioritize my career. And this is just not, where I'm living is not the vibe, but then living in Cary was not the vibe. And y'all can forget Charlotte. No, not the vibe. So I just, it's not for me as far as living in this state goes. And then again, just all of the like, logistical pieces like the taxes and the car registration and like all of that jazz. It's not for me. Now, I did find out that I think in Virginia you have two different inspections or two different tags or stickers or something that you have to like go through and get and renew every year. So like there's that, these are just the things to look at. Even if your home is temporary, I think it is important to establish a community. I was making friends and I was doing a really wow, sorry. I was doing a really good job before I left Cary. I don't even talk to them anymore. Sorry, sadly, unfortunately. Where I am now, I'm building a community, but I mean, we're about to go through a major shift educationally as far as like, where people work and all those things. And I think part of having the community I have now is the fact that we're in the same building, but I can already sense the people that I'm going to lose that I used to talk to consistently. I can already sense like me losing them because they're going to different schools and better places and better opportunities, which I'm not mad at them. I'm happy for them. They need to, they deserve it. 100%. They deserve to be happy where they work. So I get it. But I also, you can just kind of see when something's fading, and it happens. It's a part of life. It's part of being an adult. It is what it is. And then there's other people in the community that I built that will not go away. They won't go away. And that's okay. And I love it. I've built not necessarily a second family. I can't say that because of something that I talked about in last week's episode. But I can say that like the love is there. There's a lot of love there, right? So, but even then, as much as I love them, I'm sometimes when we hang out or I'll like go to their house, I'm like sitting there like I'm not going to be here for a really long time. Like my brain is like just thinking about when I will visit again after I move away. So like I just mentally know that it's not going to be forever here where I am. However, community gets you through because like I said, when I initially moved to North Carolina, I mean, I was like brave in that sense, and then it kind of smacked me in the face that I didn't have friends, and everyone at the design studio was married, and I wasn't anticipating that. So it was like, oh, the people that I thought I could become friends with, they don't want to be friends with some young early 20 something. Like, no, they're married and they're all like trying to have kids or have a version of kids or have nieces and nephews that are like their kids, like, or have dogs that are like their kids. Like there was nothing there. It actually wasn't until I started working at Harris Teeter because the whole like I wasn't get paid what I was supposed to be getting paid, the design studio thing, that part. Yeah. It wasn't until I started working at Harris Teeter that I started building that community. And I say what you want about retail. It's really unfortunate, but retail, if you want to just like meet people, is the way to go. And I'm not talking about meeting rude customers. I'm talking about like meeting someone that you can hang out with at like a bar or something. Like that's where I met my friends that I had in Cary. That, and when I got into teaching and I lived out there, I became, for instance, like one of the substitute teachers because I kept bothering her. And I worked at a school that was primarily white and she was black. And I was like, oh my goodness, you got trapped. So, and then where I am now, I've built community, like I said, in families. And I went way more detail, I feel like, with it last week. So, and I'm grateful for the community that I have here. It's necessary. I mean, I have someone that looks after Clover, and I have several people who will show up to the emergency room if I end up taking myself there and don't call anyone. And I have people who will come feed Clover in like a week or so when I take a day trip to chaperone a school trip. Like it's nice to have people. I don't have a washer and I have someone that I can go call on to be like, hey, can I borrow your washer? I need to wash a load. It's super nice. So I do recommend wherever you end up to work to build a community. If it's, getting, I mean, I don't want to recommend getting a second job at a retail chain. Obviously, I don't want to recommend that. But I mean, if you have to do that, then you have to do that. If not, go to a bar, go to a restaurant, do things solo. Because when you do things solo, I don't know, if you have the right energy, people will come talk to you. That's one of my favorite things about traveling is that a lot of the times when I meet strangers, I promise you I don't start the conversation. I promise you I don't. Now, extroverted me wants to so bad be like, I loved your earrings or something like that. But I don't, because I don't know how the other person's going to react. However, a lot of the times when I meet strangers, they start the conversation with me. And then I'm like, oh, yes, they're nice. They're talking to me. And it's the same thing with moving somewhere and building that community. If you're doing something solo, and you're happy with what you're doing and you just have the right energy, people will gravitate towards you and you'll start building a community that way as well. That's just one way. I want to say this. Yeah, I up and moved from Tennessee. I'm not taking away from the fact that it can be super hard to move away from your family and friends. It absolutely can be hard. And I still get the queries about me moving back to Tennessee. And I say it every time that I absolutely won't. And the only stipulation to that, as much as I love my friend, because at this point I only really have, well, I have two friends that live in Tennessee, but one lives like in East Tennessee, and then I just have one that I have to like really drive the distance for, or at least fly for. So it's kind of like, yeah, I love her, I love my friend, but like, I mean, my brother just graduated, right? He's moving to a whole different state for school, right? So I like my family to a certain extent. We're not going to dive deep into that. But I could never move back to Tennessee because even then, those relationships, I mean, fortunately, we have technology. Like, I can FaceTime them. And even if we didn't have technology, I think I'd like write letters or something. Like, I know where my peace is, and my peace is being away from my family. It really is. This past weekend reaffirmed that. I mean, for many reasons. It was family that I truly try not to talk to. I'm going to be very real with you. And one of them I need to unadd on Facebook actually when we're done with this. That sounds so insane, but I'm protecting my peace. And I've learned and I've heard multiple times that like even though they're technically your family biologically or whatever, they're not your family. They're not for you. And it's good to have people on your side who are for you, right? So with that being said, I consistently get questions anytime I go back to visit Tennessee about if I'm going to move back. No, I'm not. Unless my grandparents need someone to take care of them when they get just a little bit older. But until that day comes and until I figure out what my role is, no. And even then, if I have to, I'll be like, y'all can move in with me. Like, let's go get a house somewhere or something. But I don't foresee that happening at all. But again, that's not to discredit the fact that it really can be hard to move away from your family and friends. There's a girl, for some reason, her YouTube shorts started coming up for me, like as a recommendation, and I've been just eating them up. Her name's Caitlin Johnson, I believe, and she is moving from the Midwest to Georgia. I don't remember where she said specifically, but she lives close to like the Arch in Missouri. St. Louis? Is that St. Louis? I think so. But she lives there, close to there, and she's moving to Georgia, and it's like a very big move, but she said that her family encouraged her to move across the country. They want her to like get out of the Midwest where she has to drive 30 minutes to go to any sort of civilization. And I think that's really dope. And I think that more people kind of need that support when they are making these decisions to move and fulfill the wish of moving out of state, out of a place that they've always known. With that, I understand like having responsibilities. Like I fully get it. I had bills to pay and all the things. I did not have Clover. Now Clover has definitely affected how I plan on moving or where I plan on moving next. Actually, she's kind of a big reason why I'm taking my time with where I move next, just because I want to make sure that it's somewhere that will not make her anxiety worse. There's not a crap ton of motorcycles going by, or people revving their engines or anything like that. And I want to make sure that she has like room to run, because technically she does right now, but it's not fenced in, and homegirl will quickly go into the streets. So I understand having responsibilities. I mean, if you have kids, you have kids. Like I get that. I fully get that. But if there is a desire to discover a happiness outside of your hometown by simply just living somewhere else, then I say find a way to go for it and do it. No more, I wish I could do that. It's all about, not to sound like Nike, but it's all about literally just doing it. Anyway, that's honestly it. I have like no way to like, transition this episode into what I want to talk about with what I'm currently consuming. So we're just gonna transition. We're just gonna slide on over there. Okay, I have two things to talk about. One of them, I can't say much, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and get that out the way. The book is Onyx Storm. I'm reading it with my friend. I can't say much about it, but I can say I liked it a heck of a lot better than Iron Flame. And I'm going to leave it at that. I will have more to say when we meet for book club and discuss, but because I have some things. Like, I loved the journey, and then we got to the end, and I was like, brother, what? And I understand needing a cliffhanger, but what was that? However, I will say a lot more about what everyone has been talking about, which is Amazon Prime's Off Campus. Now, I'm going to tell you this because I made a whole YouTube short about how I was only going to watch one episode, then I was going to read the book, and then I was going to like binge the whole season. Well, I lied to myself. I watched one episode and then I didn't fully watch the season. How do I explain this? Let me try to justify this. I simply skimmed through. Like, I just like skipped through different episodes. So I like have a general idea of what happens. Like, I know about Bernardo the banana, but I didn't fully like, I don't know about what is it, Allie and Dean at the fire pit. Like, that whole 30 minutes spent, I don't even know what episode it was, but that whole 30 minutes spent on Allie and Dean at the beginning of an episode, like, I did not lock in on that at all. I skipped through all of it. So what I did see, I loved, and I get it. And like, even though I didn't even fully watch it, I'm low-key having withdrawals, which sounds so insane, and I do sound like an addict. So let's not think about that too hard. It makes me very excited to actually sit down and fully watch every single episode. Like, that is my plan for the summer. I'm going to binge City. I'm so excited. So let me tell you, like, I have a whole breakdown for this, okay? So like June 11th, last day. June 12th, hopefully going on a picnic if the weather permits. June 13th, I'm doing like a 24-hour reading challenge because I just feel like I did it last summer as a way to end the school year, and like, why not do it again? You know, why not do it again, right? No, it wasn't last. Was it last summer? No. It was the summer before that. It was the summer before that. I didn't do it last summer. I did the summer before that. But like, at this point, let's make it a tradition, right? So then that following Monday starts summer camp because I will still be working with my little after school kids. So that starts the summer camp for that program. And then within that week is my birthday. And my birthday, Your Fault London comes out, right? And then that Friday, another romance movie comes out. It's Voicemails to Isabel, I think. It's on Netflix. It has that really attractive guy from Everything Everything. I forgot his name, but it has that guy. Also, June 19th is Juneteenth. We got to lock in on being black that day, you know what I mean? So then I'm going to have to watch the other romance movie the next day. You know what? Yeah. So then it's Father's Day, and we got to like overcome our trauma. And then June 22nd, another day at the summer camp. But then after that, not that you asked for my full calendar, but then after that, I have every intention in the world of binging Off Campus if I can finish reading The Deal on time. I just finished Onyx Storm. I would like to read The God of the Woods for my book club that meets in like literally 10 days from when I'm recording this. Maybe if it's not 11 days. We'll see how far I can get with it. If I don't get far, I don't get far, and it is what it is. But at least I tried. And then after that, I'm going to read The Deal because apparently it doesn't take like long to read The Deal. And we're about to hit our testing season, and babe, I need something to do. So if I'm going to be reading The Deal, I'm going to be reading The Deal. And I'm so excited. I said all that to say that I understand the off-campus hype. It is like an elongated romance movie, and as a romance girly, I'm eating it up. Also, I did not realize that Belmont is the same guy in the movie Along for the Ride. That's also on Netflix. And I just feel like the change and the maturity in him from that movie to this show is fantastic. I love it. Oh my goodness. I was like watching the trailer for it, and there's like a video on Netflix of him and who I don't know the girl's name, but them like reacting to the trailer, and he looks so different. Like, he looks more mature now than he did then. So I'm happy, I'm excited, and I absolutely loved it. And like I said, I'm having withdrawals, so I'm ready to like watch it again. It takes all of my willpower to not turn it on, like as I am cooking, eating dinner, anything, really, truly anything at this point. So I might have to log out of my Amazon Prime account just to ensure that I do not like backslide. I did mention cooking dinner, and I definitely need to do that. It is 6:30 p.m. the day before this episode goes live. Clover is staring into my soul in the doorway of my office waiting to eat. So I feel like it's time we feed our faces. So I'm going to go do that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Simple Jamilah podcast. I will be in your ear next week with a new one. And yeah, love you all. Thank you so much. Bye.